Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US President Donald Trump claims America is poised for an economic boom in the coming year as he defends his policies in an address to the nation. Previewing his agenda for the year ahead, Trump declared he inherited a mess and is fixing it, while signaling that the next Federal Reserve Chair will push for much lower interest rates. The remarks come as Trump faces declining approval ratings and frustration over inflation and slowed hiring, with the White House offering few details but framing the address as a chance to regain momentum after Republican election losses raised questions about the strength of his coalition. Donald Trump unveiled new plaques on the White House's Presidential Walk of Fame, using the occasion to sharply criticize his Democratic predecessors. He branded Joe Biden as the worst president in US history and described Barack Obama as one of the most divisive figures, remarks that underscored his continued attacks on political rivals. The US has announced the temporary deployment of Air Force personnel to Ecuador as part of efforts to combat drug trafficking, a move that comes amid rising tensions with Venezuela. The troops will be stationed at Manta Air Force Base, which previously hosted US forces until 2009, marking a renewed American military presence in the region. Russian President Vladimir Putin told a Defense Ministry board meeting on Wednesday that Moscow is ready to negotiate and peacefully resolve recent disputes while blaming the West for triggering the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. He said Russia is in talks with the current US administration and hopes for dialogue with Europe, and stressed the need for the military to maintain technological superiority through advances in robotics, IT, new materials, and artificial intelligence. A White House official reportedly said US and Russian representatives will meet in Miami this weekend to discuss President Trump's plan for ending the Ukraine war. The announcement comes after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that Moscow is preparing for another year of conflict. A pilot was injured when a small Velocity V-twin aircraft crashed into a residential neighborhood in Nashua, New Hampshire, shortly after taking off from the nearby airport. Emergency crews found the plane overturned in a snowbank at the Cannon Gate condominiums, where video showed damage to a rooftop, and police confirmed the pilot was the only person on board and the only one hurt. Meanwhile, the Federal Aviation Administration has launched an investigation into the incident. A shocking video has emerged from Minneapolis in Minnesota showing ICE agents dragging a woman along a road, then pinning her to the snowy ground for several minutes as bystanders shouted and pleaded with them to let her go. According to local media, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara criticized the operation, in which a couple from Ecuador was detained. The Trump administration has loosened restrictions on immigration enforcement operations at local courthouses as part of a push to deport millions of migrants living in the US. Many advocates and some judges have condemned the practice, arguing it dissuades people from seeking justice in courts and risks undermining public trust in the legal system. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has unveiled sweeping reforms on hate speech following the deadly terror attack at Bondi Beach. Under the changes, preachers and leaders who incite violence will face a new aggravated hate speech offence. Penalties for hate speech promoting violence will be increased, and hate will be treated as an aggravating factor in sentencing for online threats and harassment. Albanese acknowledged that more could have been done in the past, saying he accepts responsibility but is committed to leading and uniting the nation. Israel and Egypt have finalized a landmark gas export agreement approved by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, valued at nearly $35 billion, the largest energy export deal in Israel's history. The pact, involving US energy giant Chevron and Israeli partners, will supply Egypt with 130 billion cubic meters of natural gas over the next 15 years. Officials say the deal is not only an economic breakthrough but could also reshape diplomatic dynamics in West Asia, helping repair ties strained during the Gaza conflict. British police have made their first arrest following a new recalibrated policy that classifies specific pro-Palestinian slogans as grounds for detention. The Metropolitan Police detained 5 individuals during a protest outside the Ministry of Justice in Westminster. 2 were arrested for racially aggravated public order offences related to Intifada chants, while others were held for obstruction and additional public order breaches. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said on that his country will continue its oil trade after US President Donald Trump ordered a blockade on tankers entering or leaving Venezuela, as most exports from the country remained on hold. Meanwhile, state oil company PDVSA has resumed loading crude and fuel cargoes following a cyber attack. Venezuela has requested that the United Nations Security Council meet to discuss ongoing US aggression against the country. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's supporters gathered in Caracas to denounce US President Donald Trump's latest sanctions, which include a blockade of oil tankers aimed at cutting off the country's main source of revenue. Protesters filled Plaza Bolivar with banners reading "Respect Venezuela" and "Trump rat out," while officials urged unity against what they called violent threats. Analysts said the US move is expected to hit foreign currency flows to Venezuela's private sector. At least 32 people, including 5 children, injured in Russian airstrikes on Ukraine's Zaporizhia, targeting block of flats and educational facilities. 2 people wounded in Russian drone strike on Kushuhum, the city with a pre-war population of around 710,000. It lies 27 kilometers from the front line and has been frequently targeted by Russian forces since the 2022 invasion. The attacks have caused significant damage to residential and educational infrastructure. Brazil's Senate has approved a bill to shorten the 27-year prison sentence of former President Jair Bolsonaro, although it is likely to face resistance from the Supreme Court and President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The bill was approved by the lower house last week and now goes to Lula, who has not said whether he will sign it into law or veto it. It could cut the former president's prison term to just over 2 years. Last month, Bolsonaro began serving his sentence for plotting a coup against Lula after losing the 2022 election. Mourners filled a stadium in Kingston, Jamaica on Wednesday to celebrate the life of reggae legend Jimmy Cliff, who died last month at 81. Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness joined in singing Cliff's anthem, "You Can Get It If You Really Want," calling his music affirmations of dignity and hope. The charismatic star, also known for his role in the landmark film The Harder They Come, was remembered not just as an entertainer, but as an artist who uplifted the world. Marine biologists at Mexico's Guadalajara Zoo are celebrating the festive season by trading sleighs for scuba gear, diving into the aquarium as Aquatic Santa to promote ocean conservation. This decade-old tradition features certified divers performing underwater acrobatics to delight families, using the holiday spectacle as a bridge to educate visitors on the critical challenges facing marine ecosystems. By blending Christmas joy with environmental advocacy, the zoo transforms a seasonal highlight into a powerful message about protecting the world's oceans. Pope Leo is expected to accept Cardinal Timothy Dolan's resignation as Archbishop of New York and announce his successor to lead the Archdiocese. Dolan, who served in the role for 16 years, reached the mandatory retirement age of 75, prompting speculation about leadership changes in America's largest Catholic archdiocese. The Vatican has not yet issued an official statement regarding the matter. Dolan's tenure has been marked by his guidance of a culturally significant Catholic community and by New York's symbolic role in the global Catholic Church. The Chinese government has intensified its diplomatic pressure on Tokyo, issuing a formal demand for the immediate retraction of statements regarding Taiwan. This follows a parliamentary session in early November where Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi explicitly linked a potential Taiwan conflict to Japan's national security. China has demanded Japan clarify its position. China's aircraft carrier Shandong has returned to its home port in Sanya, Hainan, after completing its final training mission of 2025, marking 6 years since its commissioning into the PLA Navy on December 17, 2019. As China's first self-designed and self-built aircraft carrier, Shandong has participated in significant drills like Joint Sword 2024B and Straight Thunder 2025A, and made its first visit to Hong Kong in July 2025, strengthening ties with the mainland. In July this year, a fleet of the PLA Navy, led by the aircraft carrier Shandong, made its first visit to Hong Kong, a step towards deepening ties between the Special Administrative Region and the mainland. The Delhi government is taking some tough steps to tackle its pollution problem. From today, non-BS6 private vehicles from outside the city have been banned, and those who don't have a valid PUC certificate will not be able to get fuel. Vehicles carrying construction materials have also been barred from entering the city. The government is planning to use automatic number plate recognition cameras and police support to enforce these rules as the air quality worsens. According to reports, Google is working on a new initiative to make its artificial intelligence chips better at running PyTorch, the world's most widely used AI software framework. In a move aimed at weakening NVIDIA's long-standing dominance of the AI computing market, the effort is part of Google's aggressive plan to make its tensor processing units a viable alternative to NVIDIA's market-leading GPUs. The new initiative, known internally as Torch TPU, aims to remove a key barrier that has slowed adoption of TPU chips by making them fully compatible and developer-friendly for customers who have already built their tech infrastructure using PyTorch software. US gaming platform Roblox is willing to make changes to some of its features in Russia as it seeks to overturn a ban imposed on it earlier this month. Russia's communication watchdog had announced the ban on December 3rd on grounds of child safety, sparking annoyance among some Russian users and even a rare protest at the weekend in the Siberian city of Tomsk. According to Reuters, Roblox spokesperson said that the gaming platform was ready to temporarily limit communication features in Russia and to revise its content moderation process to address the legal requirements necessary to restore the community's access to the platform. Netflix has announced that it will add a football simulation title to its gaming portfolio as the streaming giant looks to leverage the FIFA World Cup in 2026 to deepen its video game push. The football title will be developed and published by Delphi Interactive, which is also helping create a premium James Bond game called 007 First Light, and in association with the sports governing body FIFA. Netflix said the game will launch in time for the world's most watched sporting event, scheduled to start in June next year in the US, Canada and Mexico. Chinese low-orbit satellite company SpaceSail will start providing internet access to remote areas in Brazil in the first half of 2026. SpaceSail and Brazil's state-owned telecom Telebras had signed an MOU in late 2024 to offer satellite internet services for schools, hospitals and other essential services in the South American country. SpaceSail competes directly with Elon Musk's Starlink in the satellite internet market. According to Reuters, Amazon is in talks to invest in ChatGPT maker OpenAI in a potential deal that could value the artificial intelligence firm at more than $500 billion. Amazon may invest about $10 billion in OpenAI, but the talks between the two firms are very fluid. The potential deal highlights the AI sector's relentless demand for computing power as companies race to build systems rivaling or surpassing human intelligence. According to Reuters, the US Federal Trade Commission is probing Instacart as the retail platform faces criticism over its artificial intelligence-driven pricing tool. The agency has sent the company a civil investigative and is seeking information about Instacart's Eversight pricing tool. The software, which allows retailers on Instacart to experiment with different prices using AI, drew criticism after a recent study showed different shoppers got different prices for the same groceries on Instacart. Asia Pacific markets tumbled, tracking losses on Wall Street as investors continued rotating out of technology and artificial intelligence stocks. Shares of Oracle slid after reports a key investor pulled funding for a data center project, dragging down other AI-linked names. Japan led regional declines, with the Nikkei dropping more than 1.5% as tech heavyweights like SoftBank and semiconductor stocks fell. South Korea and Australia also closed lower, while Hong Kong opened weaker. The losses come as markets brace for a Bank of Japan rate hike expected to take rates to a 30-year high. Oil prices climbed sharply in Asian trade after US President Donald Trump announced a blockade on sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela. US crude jumped nearly 1%, while Brent rose above $60 a barrel. Most Venezuelan exports remain on hold, raising supply concerns even as PDVSA resumed limited loading after a cyber attack. Analysts say uncertainty over enforcement sparked short covering, though the broader impact is muted, and as Venezuelan crude makes up about 1% of global supply and demand remains soft. Silver urged past $66 an ounce for the first time, hitting a record high as renewed hopes of US rate cuts boosted demand for precious metals. Gold also climbed about 1% previously, but now is steady at $4,334 an ounce, supported by signs of a softening US labor market and rising safe haven demand amid escalating US-Venezuela tensions. Silver has now more than doubled this year and is up 130% so far, outpacing gold's gains. Platinum and palladium also jumped to multi-year highs, while markets await key US inflation data later this week. The fourth T20I between India and South Africa was abandoned on Wednesday because of excessive fog in Lucknow. The toss was scheduled for 6:30 p.m. local time but never took place despite several pitch inspections. The umpires eventually called off the match at 9:30 p.m. IST. Indian all-rounder Hardik Pandya was seen wearing a mask, triggering online discussions on deteriorating pollution levels. The air quality index external was about 400 at around the scheduled start time of the match. India lead the 5-match series 2-1, and the final meeting will take place in Ahmedabad on Friday. That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of the short break. Keep watching WION World Smart.